Sitting at home,
looking for new video bros.
guess you could call us Video Bros.
Welcome back to Vidya Bros.
We haven't done this in a while, but there's a certain cartoon as you see him wearing the shirt. So I'll just say Samurai Jack. Okay. We've been waiting for the show to end, because, you know, you don't wait for, like, movie reviews to watch half a movie and then you review it. That's stupid. So we've been waiting for the whole series to just end so we can do a review on it. For those that have not seen Samurai Jack ever in their lives,
You're missing out.
yeah, you really are. It's basically Nickelodeon's, Cartoon Network's, like, equivalent to Avatar: The Last Airbender, because of how insane the action show was, and it was no other show on the network at the time like it, and it was very mature, didn't talk down to its audience, but still kept a cartoony and funny vibe to it.
Yes.
So that way parents would let their kids watch it. And more importantly, there was violence, but no blood. Instead, there was just oil, because Jack mostly killed robots. For those that have never seen the show, as what I was saying before, the plot is about a boy who grows up, and then his dad gets kidnapped by the evil demon known as Aku, and he trains with different tribes around the world, like a tribe in Africa, to get strong enough and then fight Aku and rescue his dad one day. And he does, and almost defeats him, but then Aku takes a portal, throws him into the future, and then he doesn't have a name this whole time. We don't ever really know what his name was, but then when he arrives in the future, and he does some cool stunts in the second episode of the whole show, years ago from season 1, there are these guys that are using slang, and they're like, yo, man, Jack, and like, they call him Jack. It's like a slang, and then from then on, it's like, okay, now, everyone now just calls me Jack.
Oh, wait, he didn't have a name?
No, he technically does not have a name, and I don't think we're ever gonna figure his name out.
Okay, so we're just gonna name this whole thing now? The unnamed samurai? The unknown samurai? AKA Jack.
Philomar as Jack was excellent. Once again, like he was in the first 4 seasons, he was excellent.
Yes.
Great voice actor, and great actor in general. Tara Strong voiced a character named Ashi, who you see throughout season 5, who wasn't in the original season. She's one of Aku's daughters, that try to hunt down... Yeah, this review will have spoilers, so I'll leave that in the description to let people know, and in the title. She voices Ashi, who's one of the 7 daughters of Aku that are raised and literally just made for the purpose of hunting down and killing Jack throughout season 5. And season 5 takes place 50 years after the season finale of season 4. And so, if you wanted to get into the show, and you had to watch all those other seasons, you don't really have to, there's no connection, but it is more rewarding if you do, like me and Jeff did. Like, because we're longtime fans of the series, it is rewarding to do that, and I highly recommend you do. You can find every episode easily online.
We're not going to link any of that here, or show any of that, because people like to think that that's called stealing, or copywriting, or, in general, you're just taking things from other people and not paying for it, as you know.
Anyway, this series...
Pirating. There you go.
This series left people on a major cliffhanger for 13 years when the series ended in 2004. The final episode of that season was just of Jack protecting some baby and trying to find his parents while protecting it from these robotic troll monsters that want to eat it for dinner.
But there was no connection between that and the first episode of season 5.
No, there's no connection. So
you
don't have to watch that episode to have understood season 5's continuity.
But mainly why we're here, though, is to review
the whole series.
The whole series, but more of season 5.
This is just a review of the whole show in general. We're not reviewing like a specific episode. We're just talking about things with it. This season and the whole show was fantastic. I really was looking forward so long. We waited 13 years for this show to come back and give us a proper ending. And just the fact that the show came back was a miracle. No
one expected it. But what's more surprising, though, is that, well, surprising and not surprising if you think about it, because the first 4 seasons was owned and all 5 seasons were all owned and written by Genny Tarkovsky, and Cartoon Network owned the rights to that show from season 1 through 5. And 1 through 4.
Yeah, I was going to say 1 through 4 because Adult Swim.
And then Adult Swim took over that because Cartoon Network does not allow that anymore because they suck ass. And
also, Tarkovsky simply made this happen because he emailed Mike Lazo at Adult Swim one day. He's just like, hey, can I bring back Samurai Jack? And he replied just saying, sure. And he's like, okay. And
well, I'm sure they went through the hoops.
Confirmation like that.
I'm sure they went through the hoops and whatnot and all the trouble to get Cartoon Network to do it first. But of course, the only way they will ever reboot anything anymore is if 1, it has merchandise, 2, it has merchandise, and 3, it has merchandise. No matter how bad the reboot is, not to say that season 5, which is technically
it's a continuation,
but not a reboot at all. But they don't allow any continuation or reboot unless, no matter how bad or good the show was or is now, or whatever state it's in, as long as it sells merchandise, because it's connected to the old stuff, and that sold the merchandise, that's the only way Cartoon Network will do it. And also, they don't allow the kind of content that was in Samurai Jack Season 5 to be allowed on Cartoon Network.
No, because this season was strictly... The show was always mature, but it wasn't straight for adults. Like, the audience was mixed. Season 5, the final season, 13 years later, when they brought the show back, it is strictly for adults. It's on Toonami on Adult Swim, which is on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
So they can get away with darker stories, have blood, and be more mature. But just because it's on Adult Swim, does that mean they have to start swearing in a show? No. Episode 6 is the only episode of the whole show that has any type of swearing, and I'm glad that they didn't go overboard with it and be like, oh, now because we made the show for adults, strictly, we can swear. It's
well,
like,
no,
you don't
because...
have to.
See, the thing is, though, if you make a show on Adult Swim, and don't get me wrong, Adult Swim can suck pretty bad sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, just...
Squidbillies.
Mr. Pickles. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. When you're on Adult Swim, though, you don't necessarily have to go off tangent with the content you're producing. Meaning, it doesn't matter what's on there. It could be anything. Adult Swim is for anyone, anywhere, anytime, as long as they approve it, of course. But, like with Samurai Jack, season 1 through 4, Genny Tarkovsky did not tangent away from the original source content of season 1 through 4. No. Season 5, he just kept it strictly as, well, you know, we can go with the original, like, art style and whatnot, and just update it a tiny bit for HD. Of course.
And it looks amazing in HD.
It does.
I never thought I'd see Samurai Jack years later look absolutely still amazing, but even more amazing.
Of course. But
the show still holds up pretty well at the first 4 seasons, but it just looks better now with season 5 being in HD and stretching the screen out for these episodes.
But the thing was, though, that he wanted to take the show and go as far as he can, and with limits, of course, because you can't, like I said, you didn't want to tangent off into a different direction with the show. He wanted to keep the original art style. He wanted to keep the original feel and vibe of the show, but, of course, go darker of what he originally planned for seasons 1 through 4, but could not go with that because of Cartoon Network's family-friendly network. And Adult Swim's not family-friendly, of course. You got fucking Mr. Pickles at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning when kids are waking up to go to school. And say, yay, I get to watch fucking torture and fucking, you know, Satanism and whatnot. Whatever the fuck that show was about.
Anyway, this is about Samurai Jack. Let's not get into that. But anyway, this series was fantastic. I was so excited and on the edge of my seat every Saturday for a half hour, 11 o'clock, just wondering, oh shit, what's going to happen in this episode? Especially in episode, as I said, this will have spoilers, especially in episode 2, when Jack, at the end of the episode, was fighting for his life and hiding from the 7 sisters, and he had no choice but to kill one of the sisters, and I'm like, oh my god, he fucking killed someone, he finally did it.
That's one of the things that we were talking about before. When I meant darker, I meant...
He had no problem killing robots, as he stated in episode 2 or 3, I think. He said that robots are just nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
So he never had a problem killing robots, even in the original run of the show. He never killed a human before.
He will never harm a human being or life unless it's in danger of his own self. And that only shows in season 5 because when I meant before that when Adult Swim that when Genny Karpkowski wanted to actually go darker, like his original plans were from season 1 through 4. They went darker. They made blood, gore,
he actually
human
killed
killing,
people, but he had to defend himself, though.
Yeah, but in the right way, though. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna go like do GTA style and kill everyone.
No, he was defending himself, so I don't blame him. I would have killed someone too.
Of course.
But the series was fantastic. I teared up during the series finale when I watched it on my own last night. It's just sad seeing a show this fantastic go, and this type of show only comes once in a lifetime, if you're lucky. And
yeah,
what did you think of the series finale?
I'll tell you right now. Quick note: if you love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I mean not The Legend of Korra, but if you loved Avatar: The Last Airbender, there is no doubt in my mind that you will hate or dislike Samurai Jack. Very similar concepts, both funny humor, funny...
Wait, why would they hate Samurai Jack?
They wouldn't, I said.
I thought you said would.
They would. You wouldn't hate it. I mean, you would love it to death. It's basically the same...
It's serious, but it could be funny, too.
I mean, if you want to talk about serious, Avatar: The Last Airbender got really serious, but you're going to get to find the same level of seriousness, but added more darkness and stuff because it's on Adult Swim, not Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. But I don't even know where I'm going with this now. Holy shit, I suck at this.
But another great voice actor.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
What?
When you asked me about the season finale.
Yeah, also series finale. What did you think?
I honestly, like I said, if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, you'll love this. It runs the exact same way. Meaning, you're gonna find, like, at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender, he stops the great evil of the Fire Lord Ozai, and here Samurai Jack defeats Aku for the last time. Spoiler alert again. And I love the way they did it, but oh my god, I did not expect the very ending of it, though. Like, the very ending where Ashi... I was not thinking of that. I was just thinking...
This is something I'm going to bring up. What I had a problem with this series finale is the fact that Jack acted surprised when Ashi sadly became unborn when they returned back to the past after defeating Aku, and they were about to get married. It's like, I feel like knowing that he killed...
that was a marriage ceremony?
I thought
that was a hero ceremony.
Pretty sure he was going to get married.
I thought that was a heroic ceremony. I didn't think that was a marriage thing, but I don't know if Japanese custom like that, so...
It wasn't... I don't know. It's up for debate, but I'm pretty sure it was a marriage ceremony. But I feel like that they would have known to make Jack somehow be aware already what was going to happen after having defeated Aku in the past, because it means, like, that he wasn't in the future.
Well, he didn't know anything about time travel to begin with in the first 4 seasons. Until afterwards.
I feel like that's some logic that someone would have at least pointed out was like, okay, well, if you killed him in the past, way before he gave birth to those girls or he was calling his daughters, I feel like that knowing that, he would know that eventually Ashi would fade away. But he acted surprised when it happened. He was surprised, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. Because we all know, well, not everyone, but for those that know how time travel works, something like that tends to happen. Where if you kill someone in the past to prevent, like, a certain bad thing happening, if they had kids way after that happened, yeah, they're not going to exist. It's going to undo their existence.
Well, yeah.
And that's what happened here.
But see, the thing is, he never... see, the thing was that they showed him giving his life force into a cup to give to the 7 sisters.
Yeah.
and, well, the bigger sisters, I would say, and then having one of them have babies, and then Ashi came out of it. But the thing was, though, that whole scene right there.
Yeah, he gave it to, like, one of the cultists that worshipped him, and then she had babies.
But that scene, though, did not have a specific time or a timeline of where it was placed in the timeline. So basically, that could have happened anywhere between season 1 through 4, before Samurai Jack, defeated, or tried to defeat Aku for the first time until he got transported into the future.
What I thought was so cool was they actually paid tribute to Mako, rest in peace, who was the original voice actor of Aku in seasons 1 to 4, who passed away of esophageal cancer in 2006. They paid tribute to him by having the original intro of the first 4 seasons play, where they give the overarching plot of the story in the beginning, and you hear Mako's voice as Aku, and it's really cool, and I thought it was awesome. I knew and I was expecting it. It was almost everything I wanted out of a series finale.
That's how you do it, though.
To have all the characters Jack helped out throughout the whole series help him out to fight Aku and, like, fight different parts of his army.
That's how you make it. That's how you make a comeback.
That's what I expected, and I love they even put the Scotsman, by the way, voiced by John DiMaggio. You might know him as Bender or Jake from Adventure Time.
What time is it? Shut up.
Or Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War. He's great as a Scotsman, once again, like he was in the original run of the show. Great to see the Scotsman. That was my favorite side character.
I was not expecting that whole part where he came and, well, of course he helped. He helped defeat Aku, but at the same time, I was not expecting his magic to actually work.
The Celtic magic.
Yeah, to work to that effect, though.
Yeah, so he's kind of dead and he's kind of not. What I thought was really funny is when they have him and Jack, like, reuniting, and then he's like...
Are you dead? No, just a wee bit.
He's like... That when he introduces and just talks about every single and names all of his daughters, and he's just like, wow. So
I was like, this is gonna be filler, but I'm like, no, because this is hilarious.
Like, no, it was funny they put that in, because they had to do something funny with the Scotsman. He's a funny character. That's why I always loved him as a side character. He's funny, and he's also, all of the trash talking he would say is just really funny and random things. I thought it was funny when Jack said, no, I don't want to pick one of your daughters, and he's like, what? Are you too good for me girls? And he's like, no, I found someone. And he's just like, who? He points to Ashi, like, as she became, like, when Aku turned her really evil, and he's just like, I don't think she's your type. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, oh, Scotsman. Technically, he's a character without a name, too. We never found out his name. We just know he's some Scottish guy.
Alright.
I'm going to read over some notes here, because these actually...
I don't want to make this too long, because we're already 18 minutes in.
Alright. Well, just hang in there. I'm going to bring up some notes of something we should... this is something I don't get. I assume he just died, but there was an episode...
Oh, yeah.
There was an episode called Jack versus the Guardian in one of the original seasons, and Jack fought this crazy, badass Guardian that guarded a portal, and it was a hidden portal, and he said if you win, you can use a portal and go back to your time. He beat the crap out of Jack, and Jack refused to give up, and then he almost crushed him with a boulder and killed him, and then he decided to spare him, and he said, okay, you can use a portal, but not yet. You have to wait. And I assumed later on in the show he would use it. We don't ever see him in Season 5. And in Season 9, Season 5, Episode 9, if you look closely, you see a pair of broken glasses on the ground that Jack looks at. And it's like, those are his glasses. Are we just to assume that Aku killed him at some point?
I could see that only because the only reason I could think
I saw people bring that up, and I'm like, so is the Guardian dead? And we just didn't know?
I feel like a Guardian wouldn't be dead though, because one, I feel like because Aku can watch and see everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like that whole fight, he already knew that since Jack could have killed him, but spared his life, he was like, there's no point to have you around if Jack can just kill you again, or could kill you again.
One thing I also just remembered, people on Tumblr are pissed off, and if you don't agree with us, that's fine. People are pissed off that Jack isn't gay, and that he's heterosexual, quote unquote, because of his love plot with Ashi. People were pissed and saying that it was mostly a romance subplot for the last couple of episodes. But you know what? Someone else brought up that there wasn't action during those episodes. Yeah, there was. There was still action with Jack and Ashi, and it was pretty awesome. Whenever, like, the original first 4 seasons, not every single scene of every single episode was about action. A lot of times there were tamer and slower episodes that usually built up to something, and it was always worth it. Season 5 had those types of episodes, but also just happened to have a romance subplot with Ashi. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Here's my take on that. And this can go so many ways. And I'm gonna get a lot of hate for all this. And
probably.
I'm gonna, what do you call it? I'm gonna say what I have to say, because this is how I believe. And there's a lot that can go into this, but Jack does not have to be, look, he could be gay. He could be if they wanted to. He doesn't have to be, and he wasn't. He was heterosexual, because he, had a love affair with Ashi, of course. But the thing that pisses me off, and it's because it's the new generation now, and gender equality, sexual equality, all this and that a lot of that is not portrayed in cartoons, and a lot of that is not portrayed in
media.
In the media. Well, not media, because I can't say movies, because a lot of movies out there now have all the stuff into it, because it makes for more tasteful art and whatnot. But
it's not you have to push
in cartoons, though, and I mean, they could have done it on Adult Swim, or they could have done it on Cartoon Network because of their limits and crap like that, and not family friendly, because family friendly can teach you about being gay or bi or trans or whatever the hell you want to do or talk about. And I know I was wrong in that sense, but I'm just giving you a general idea here.
But if he doesn't want to make a character a certain sexual orientation, he doesn't have to. It's his show.
Yes, but that's the thing, though. And I'm not saying I hate the fact that he wasn't gay. I mean, I would have liked it. I would have not liked it.
I wouldn't have had a problem with it, but at the same time, if it's not there, I don't mind.
It's the vibe of the way the show is, and how classic cartoons are portrayed as not having gay people in there. I mean, some did, some didn't, but most of the time it was family friendly, so they had to keep that family friendly mindset in there somewhere, because, like I said, he didn't want to tangent off into the different vibe and a different whole thing of what Adult Swim could have been for the show. And that's the way I like it. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, but it just wouldn't make sense, though, in the sense that, oh, Jack went into the future and now he had nothing to do, so he just, jacked himself off. It's like, I'm gay now. Jacked himself off.
You know what else I wanted to bring up, and this is a good point someone made, and I completely agree with them. Ashi's entire life was a lie, her childhood was ruined, she became an assassin that was devoted to a demon, and she didn't even know it. Jack saved her and made her come a long way back to sanity, and she saved Jack when he was passing through the same. And it's because of this that the stakes were even higher than before. Jack was broken, but his kind actions saved one last person that in the end saved Jack. He was broken, and despite their past conflict, they managed to respect and love each other. Both were broken, and both helped each other to become better. Yeah, this stupid romance has more meaning story-wise and character-wise, other than what you think. If this show was only about fights, sorry to break it to you, but that would have been a shallow and hollow story.
I agree with that completely.
That is a very good point to make. Yeah, they didn't have... Just because you have a male and female lead characters doesn't mean you have to make them into, like, a couple and ship them. I'm not really one for shipping couples, but I'm not really against it either, with Jack and Ashi being Joshi, as the internet's calling it. I don't mind that. But even though they didn't have to put it in, I'm not complaining about it like a lot of people were and saying, oh, this ruined the rest of the series.
No!
Jenny Karakovsky, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you ruined the show, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna knock at your door and threaten you. Like, people were making all sorts of comments, bitching, complaining that Jack isn't gay and that they put a romance plot with him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't, in my mindset... And you could, like I said, there's people out there that could be wrong, but it just doesn't make any sense, though, because if he didn't save a guy. Like, he didn't save a guy, and then, cause he saves, every episode, it's a male, and there's a female in there somewhere, but I mean, then most of the time he's saving male role characters, and it's like, that's what he does, and he goes on to the next civilization or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so he saving Ashi was like the greatest battle he ever had in his life.
Yeah, because also it gave a character that previously we were supposed to hate really good character development throughout the whole last couple of episodes.
And that's what I also like too, though, because
she, instead of just wanting to kill him, a couple of episodes later came to be a well-established character,
and that's
in just a couple of episodes.
Yeah, and that's what I like, because yes, season 1 through 4 had all the good characters, but they come and go and come up once in a while. But
the only most recurring side character was a Scotsman, but he only appeared usually in one episode a season outside of season 4, where he had his own 2-part arc.
But when you develop a character, or more than one character, and that's the main character, when you have Jack and you have Ashi, and I'm not going to this whole romance thing right now, but I mean you have them both there. That makes for a better story because you're focusing on two different sides of the same plot.
Yeah, and someone made a point, or tried to make a point, saying that they can't tell a good story with characters that have fucked up parents. And someone replied saying, "You do realize there's stories with good characters that have fucked up parents before, right? Was Luke supposed to be a Sith just because his father was? What about Artemis from Young Justice? That's rather simple, if you ask me. Because of saying that Ashi can't, be a good character or have a good story or whatever just because of who her father was, because her father was a coup. It doesn't have to be like that. No, she can still be a good character, and there could be still good stories told with her. But yeah, that season finale, let alone series finale, was crazy.
It was. I would definitely recommend watching it.
I am seriously going to miss this series. It was fantastic. And in my opinion, even though a lot of people are hating on season 5 because of the whole Ashi thing, or being like, oh, well, there wasn't enough time, for the series finale or whatever to, establish, a better ending for the show and whatnot, and we're kind of disappointed. For me, it was everything I expected. I thought exactly the same thing.
Actually, I was shocked at what happened, because I wasn't expecting as much as what we put out there.
I was expecting and thinking, is everyone Jack ever helped from the past episodes, including seasons 1 to 4, gonna?
Because they had to throw in throwbacks, just because it's been 13 years.
I like that they even, and unlike in episode 6 where they threw in a bunch of characters Jack helped in the past, and they even mention and bring up how he helped them, the Woolies in episode 6, and then the kids from the Rave, and the Samurai, that Jack fought in season 3 or season 4. I think it was season 3. I can't remember. In that episode, there was this guy that thought he was the best samurai ever until Samurai Jack came along, kicked his ass, and taught him a lesson in what the true meaning of being a samurai is. By the way, unlike in that episode, David Alan Grier voiced him. In this season, he's voiced by Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. And
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the voice cast for this season was amazing.
I could see him dressing up like that, in a skit or some movie or something, like a black samurai.
They got a bunch of characters, that voice characters, especially with the main cast, from the original run of the show, but then they added more, I like that they even had the Monkey Man from that episode in the series finale.
Yeah, they had to bring everyone back just for that one final fight.
And Aku's wait, flying monkeys? And he's like, no, jump good. I'm I love that they put him in there. It was so cool. And the Triceraquins, as I mentioned, the sea people with the underwater utopia.
Yeah.
It was cool they were there because we didn't see them in episode 6.
I forgot about that because I haven't...
Oh my god, that was a great episode. They actually helped Aku in that episode and betrayed Jack because Jack went there to seek a portal and that they supposedly there was a legend of, and they tricked Jack and said that Aku made them do it because he promised he would bring their kingdom back onto the surface again. But he stabbed them in the back and then was he changed his mind on that deal, and then they're well, now we feel bad, now we have to help Jack.
Yeah.
And Jack still helped them anyway because he's a humble, nice guy. So it was cool they were there. It was cool. The Monkey Man and all those cute little monkey friends of his were there from the Jump Goat episode. It was cool that the kids from like the Rave episode were there. Or should I say episodes, because technically they were also in the season 6 episode. It was cool that the dog people were there that he helped out in like episode 3. And that you meet in episode 2 of the whole show. But then, he helps them in episode 3. So technically they got like 2 episodes, the dog people he helped. It was cool they were there. It was cool the Woolies came back and that the Archers were riding the Woolies. That was so cool. I loved that. But yeah,
we're both gonna miss this so much.
As I said, I was going into this review expecting to cry a little bit, but I'm just trying to stay strong because, as I said, this is my favorite cartoon of all time, let alone favorite action cartoon. Second,
I don't think anyone can top what Genny Tarkovsky did.
Second having to be Young Justice. I can't wait for season 3 of that. You might see a review of that eventually, you might not. Who knows? Depends on if Jeff will watch seasons 1 and 2 at one point.
At one point.
But yeah, maybe, well actually there's one more point I have to bring up, but after I say this, maybe one day Genny will go through months of paperwork, seeing as how successful this final season was. I don't know exactly the deal with this or how it works, but maybe he can try going through paperwork to undo the tax write-off to bring back Symbiotic Titan. Maybe, who knows? Crazier things have happened. Who knows? It could happen. It could not happen.
Listen. I honestly don't think that. As much as
you know what's crazy?
People want that to happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
You know what's crazy is they've actually aired Symbiotic Titan on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
If they've aired that on Adult Swim, I'm like, that... A friend of ours asked recently what action cartoon I would love to see, or any cartoon in general, be brought back and put on Adult Swim, like Samurai Jack. I said Symbiotic Titan, because that was another great action show Genny Tarkovsky made. And that was one of your, looking, you can tell it's a Flash cartoon, but it was done very well.
Yeah.
And it was in my opinion, that was his second best show. Dexter's Lab was good, but then went through seasonal rot because a lot of people left the show after a couple seasons when they ended the show and brought it back a couple years later.
Well, that was because it had a whole different style to it.
And then they, changed a lot of stuff around it and it brought back, it wasn't as good. So of course my favorite show of him is Samurai Jack. My second one has to be Symbiotic Titan, and it had a lot of potential, but it got canceled after only 20 episodes because they couldn't get a toy license. So if they
couldn't get a what?
A toy license.
Oh, that's what I want to go back to again. Like I mentioned before, Cartoon Network, and this is the reason why I don't believe we'll see Symbiotic Titan, because, like I said,
crazier things have happened though. So
I understand. I know that, but if it doesn't happen, if it happens on Adult Swim, then I understand why it happened on Adult Swim. I
would love that.
But if it doesn't happen at all, and it doesn't happen on Cartoon Network, it's only because it doesn't sell merchandise. And
Young Justice didn't sell well with merchandise, and then look what happened now.
Yeah, but see, another company took it over. That's the difference, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing. But if
the creators had a sit down with the people on Netflix, and they yeah, we'll put it on Netflix.
Yeah, but you see why that show worked out, and why Symbiotic Titan won't work out if it ever tries to come back.
It makes a second season.
And it makes a second season or a reboot or whatever it is. It will never happen, and I don't think it will ever happen. And this is my opinion, though. I could be wrong, like I said. But, and like Brandon said, crazier things have happened. But, Symbiotic Titan was one of the original cartoons that Cartoon Network tried to put on the air. And it worked out until they couldn't get a toy license. And then that's why they got shut down. But Cartoon Network, like many networks, own that show. That's the reason why it will not come back. Because Cartoon Network owns it, not Genny Tarkovsky.
You know what's a point I want to bring up?
And one thing though, Young Justice though, like Brandon said, and that's not coming back, but that's because WB Animation has that. It's not part of Cartoon Network, so that's why you can go to different things. Plus, Cartoon Network and WB Animations has a big fight going on right now, and they've been fighting for a while. But the only thing that they can produce out of the whole thing is Teen Titan Go, because ratings.
But this is something I saw someone say because they were upset about Ashi's death and didn't want to accept it, and I agree with them. But someone said if it helps make you feel better, I'd like to suggest the possibility that Ashi has managed to reincarnate into the ladybug that landed onto Jack's palm in the final scene.
I would love that.
And considering how symbolically important the ladybug is to both Jack and Ashi, it sort of makes sense. And assuming that Ashi will continue reincarnating throughout the eras, along with Jack retaining the internal youth side effect he gained from time travel, it could be entirely possible for the two to reunite over and over again. Who knows?
Possibly,
we're left to speculate on what will happen.
But I don't believe that whole time travel thing and that whole theory right there doesn't make sense in some ways, because you can't, if you know about reincarnation, you can only reincarnate after you died, and technically, since Jack and Ashi went back in time, back to the present, and killed Aku and defeated him for the first time, and if you think about it, because it's time travel.
Yeah. So
it's the first and the final time, but because Ashi never technically died, she was
unborn.
She was unborn. Basically, she never existed in the first place at the moment of the impact when Jack hit the sword on the final slash on Aku. Technically, she should have just died or been unborn just like that if time travel was true to its form or theory, whatever. But I'm not going to go into that. I like what they did, because if she was unborn at that moment, then we wouldn't have the rest of the story. It would have just been a sad ending, and there would be nothing for it. But what I was saying, though, was like, she was unborn, she never existed in the first place, so she can't be reincarnated into anything. There's no life form of her existence anymore.
What someone brought up is about him not having a proper goodbye with his friends in the future. Someone said you might also say that he hasn't had a proper goodbye with all the people he's encountered over his years in the future. But now that I think of it, it wasn't necessary. All those people knew what Jack's quest was and were willing to help him all the way, even if it meant erasing their own existence.
I was
hoping for another emotional goodbye between the Scotsman as well, but a bit of talk like true friends was good enough. I bet the Scotsman will always be in Jack's heart, just like Ashi. Personally, I would have loved to see Jack live on with all his future friends and Ashi, but I'm really glad with this ending. Thanks, Genny Tartakovsky.
Okay.
There's something else here that I want to bring up, and this is something that actually makes a lot of sense. That what could have happened was that Jack could have defeated Aku, and then what had happened where Ashi became unborn, and then Jack go into the future they came from and defeat Aku there, and Ashi would still be in that timeline because it's after she's born already, and that way in the future he's dead, bring Ashi back with him to his timeline, and then that way he can bring her back. And then that you'd have a happy ending. Or someone else also said that what they could have done is have, when Ashi said, "I felt Aku leave me," at that point, have what me and you were saying earlier, and other people, having her starting to vanish away as she's disappearing, and have Jack and her have one final goodbye kiss, and then, the show ending there. That would have been a cool thing to do. That would have been fine if they ended it like that, but I'm glad with what we got, though.
I'm glad.
But I do kind of think it's weird she didn't disappear right away, as you mentioned and other people mentioned.
Like I said,
after the impact of the coup dying.
Like I said, though, if it just doesn't make it makes sense if you think about it. She should have just died right there at the impact of a coup dying, of a coup being dead, because it's that very second, or however small you want to go into millisecond and nanosecond, whatever. But that very second of the impact, she should have been dead right there or unborn.
Yeah.
But if she died right there, there wouldn't have been more story to it. That's why.
Yeah.
And you would have had at least five minutes of filler for nothing, of something.
I do feel terrible for Jack, though. I'm glad he came out on top, but at the same time, that guy really deserves to have some happiness in his life. He's happy that he's back with his family and friends, but I would have liked it if they actually let him also.
You know what they should have done?
Have a significant other in his life to be happy with. Because with all the shit he's been through over the years, he deserves some happiness.
You know what would have been a cool idea they should have done?
What?
And they could have dragged it on a little bit. They could have worked on it a little more into the story, and it would have made actual sense. Where, yes, the fact that Jack went into the future and that he was stuck there for 15 years or 50 years, whatever it was, and that.
Well, when he first got thrown into the future in the very beginning of the show, it turned out he was 25 years into the future, and then with season 5, it's 50 years after he comes into the future then. So it's technically he's in the future 75 years after the original run of the show in season 5. That's 75 years total that he's been in the future.
So, 75 years in the future, but what he should have done though was like, well, I can go and he could have just been like, everything that's ever happened, right?
Yeah.
They could have tanged off for like 2 or 3 minutes. But like, I found this village, or whatever, talking to all these people, blah blah blah, and he bought like, you know how when he goes to market with Ashi and he buys all this food,
and you have that seal that's voiced by Billy West.
He should have while he was at market though, like that would have been a perfect thing. He should have went to market, right?
Yeah.
Went off for a little bit and told Ashi, "Look what I found," and he found like a notebook or something, or a diary or a journal, and wrote everything he did down that ever happened to him. And then when he went back into the past, back into the present,
yeah,
he could have shown everything that ever happened to everyone throughout, whoever he met, and all the people that he's helped. That he's helped, and see, this could have been if I let Aku live.
Oh my god.
And then they would have been like, and then they would have praised him and gave him like a parade or something, and the show that way, like epilogue.
Yeah.
That would have made sense. Because you can do a lot with like with the show Doug. Yeah. Like stuff like that, you can make a lot off of just one diary or journal entry.
Anyway, so to keep this video from going any further, as I said, I'm gonna miss this show.
I'm gonna miss it a lot too.
We were waiting 13 years for it to come back after it left our lives, and 13 years later, it's back and
finally ended.
And it's 13 years back later, and then it came and went, just like Russell Brand's career. I don't know. So I wanted to use some bad joke.
Here, we love the show, and this is probably gonna be the last time you ever see a show brought back. And I'm not talking about like anime where you can go in and out of different timelines and whatnot, like Dragon Ball Z.
Well, Arrested Development just got confirmed for season 5, so that's not true.
Well, no, but I'm talking about like cartoon-wise.
Oh, like an action cartoon being brought back years later?
Well, I mean in general, like this is like in our generation right now, where this is probably going to be the last time you're ever going to see something
as amazing as Samurai Jack brought back.
And something as amazing as Samurai Jack brought back, but something, no matter how it's been brought back, rebooted or whatnot, or added another season to continuing from an old season from like years ago, however they bring it back, it's going to be probably the last time you're ever going to see a cartoon or a media brought back the correct, and I mean, this is how you absolutely do it the right way.
Yeah, Getty brought it back with respect. That's the thing, is they treated it with absolute nothing but respect.
Like, literally, I'm not saying that, what do you call it, that, like, all the stuff that's gonna come out now, like, you have Ben 10, which is okay for what it is. I'm not saying it's terrible, it's okay for what it is, but it sucks compared to the original Ben 10. You don't bring show back for like 15 fucking times. Ben 10, for that matter. You know, it had like 7 seasons or whatnot, or I couldn't even keep track.
It had like 3 or 4 or something, or a couple. I don't remember how many the original show had, but then it had like 3 shows that were continuing.
That's what I said. And they just brought it back and kept redoing it, but
they kept making more like spin-off.
And that's only because it sold merchandise. But I mean, you have Ben 10, and you have Teen Titans Go, and then you have Powerpuff Girls 2016, and I mean, those all. That's not how you bring back a show. Like, Tartakovsky knew what he was doing, and he brought back the original team.
He brought back the original writers,
the original artists, just basically every person he ever hired that he could get back.
The only person that wasn't back was Mako Inomatsu, because he passed away 11 years ago.
And people were upset with that, but he had to do what he had to do, and
he hired a very good voice imitator, like a voice sound like Greg Baldwin, and he was a coup for this whole season, and he's good. Like, he's fine for what his voice of Aku is.
He's great, but he's not...
He's not gonna... They even said...
You can't replace him.
They even said themselves no one can replace Mako. Even though he's a good impersonator for Aku's voice, or his original voice, he can't be replaced, so...
Yeah.
Like, and it's ironic they used him to replace Uncle Iroh's voice actor, also voiced by Mako in Avatar The Last Airbender. That original voice was also him, and Greg Baldwin was the replacement voice for him as well.
That's why it sounded familiar.
You didn't know? Yeah, that's why.
I didn't know why. I didn't know he did Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, he was the replacement voice for him. That's why in the episode Tales of Ba Sing Se, they did a tribute to Mako Uematsu, and we're having him, I think, either in that episode, if not then after, the voice was different because then Greg Baldwin took over, like he did for Aku.
That makes sense. But,
we gotta end
we're gonna end it. I just, want to end off on my point, though. Like I said, this is gonna be the last time any show, and for our generation, the next generation, and so on, probably gonna be brought back in the correct way. And this is never gonna end because this is how people get ratings now, because, hey, guess what? And I'm not saying this is not the reason why getting Tarkovsky brought back Samurai Jack.
He brought it back to give it closure, and because people wanted it back. So he did it because he knew his fans wanted it back. So he did it out of complete passion. It was a passion project.
It's not like a company come like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network saying, hey, well, Nickelodeon more of this now. It was like, hey, everything from the 90s is great. Let's bring back the Rugrats. Let's bring back Hey Arnold. Let's bring back Rock with Modern Life. Let's bring back Invader Zim, because why the fuck not? And I'm not saying that the actual creators of those shows are
only doing it for money.
Only doing it for money. They want to do it because they know they have a passion for what they do. But I believe that the only reason why Nickelodeon is allowing them to do it is so they get the fucking rating, because they're desperate as fuck. So that's why I'm saying that's not a reason why you go out and reboot a show, or allow a show to be rebooted in the first place. You have to do it correctly, and it's probably going to be the last time we're going to see one of the greatest shows ever created brought back the right way.
Yeah. So we're definitely, as I said, I'm going to miss the show so much. It was such a huge, important part of my life growing up. Also, people have asked, is Samurai Jack an anime? It's probably influenced by anime, but it's not an anime. I can understand why someone would think it, but it's not.
Because it's not. Because even though this Samurai Jack had a storyline where he was trying to get back to the past to defeat Aku and whatnot, it wasn't like each episode was leading up to that. Because, like in season 4, at the last episode with the cliffhanger, that's why it didn't lead up to that. So you can't say it's an anime, because animes have every single episode is a direct continuation from the last episode, like a direct.
You know what I really just remembered that pissed me off? Where the fuck is the baby Jack saved in the final episode of season 4 in season 5? Where is he? We didn't see him grow up and help Jack out in any way. Where the hell is the baby? We could have seen that happen, but we'll never know.
75 years, Jack doesn't age, but the baby did, so guess what? He's 75 years old, can't do anything now.
So no, at that point it's 50 years, because he's already...
Okay, but that'll make sense then, but...
So, that's another question that needs answering, that and what Jack's real name is.
Maybe one of the old samurais or an old monks, probably Baby Jack in some way or another, we didn't know. So, that and what is Jack's real name, those are questions that are... It's up in the air, so your guess is as good as mine. Well, since this is the episode... Since the last episode of Season 5, the last episode ever, the season finale and series finale just happened last night, there's probably maybe many questions being asked and interviewed by Denny Tarkovsky on Tumblr, on Twitter, on Facebook, probably on
I don't even
YouTube,
think he has a Twitter.
He probably has something. He has to have something. I don't really think he's that active on social media from last I checked. I've looked for him before on Twitter, and he doesn't have one, it appears. But what are your thoughts on Samurai Jack, especially this final season? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments, and any theories or thoughts you thought they could have done to do something different, or something you thought they could have done better. Let us know in the comments. And as always, Thank you so much for watching. Click the annotations on the screen. I will not be linking videos of our past Let's Plays in here. I'll be doing any reviews you see on the top here.
Yeah, this is strictly
on the overlay on the end cards.
This is strictly a cartoon review video.
Yep. So don't look for Let's Plays right now, but as I said, thank you so much for watching. Click the annotations on the screen, and we will catch you in the next episode or the next video. Peace out.